let's implement animation of enemy composite. We have a group of enemies in multiple rows and columns. So if the rightmost one reaches to the right, it changes the direction to the left. And then if the leftmost one hits the left wall, it changes direction and the like. So let's first define the direction. Default one is to the right, private boolean moving to right is true, so that's the initial direction, moving to the right. So animation would be as follows. So let's define change of x. It is basically unit move. We have defined as constant. But if moving to right, it's moving to the right, then currently moving to the left, that's the one. If it's moving to the right, we are keep adding delta x, which is unit move. But however, if it hits the wall, we need to change the direction. So if we are going to define a method called the right hand. So we have multiple rows and multiple columns. The rightmost one, the right end is greater than or equal to game board. Game board has defined the screen width there, and then it moves to the outside of the right end. Then we are going to change the direction, so we need to subtract there, and then moving to right is false because it's moving to the left. Now else case, currently it's moving to the left, then we need to subtract this amount since it's moving to the left. However, if it reaches the left hand, we are going to define this method. Left end is 0 or negative, that it left the scene to the left. Then now we need to keep adding the x location, and then moving to the right becomes true at that moment. So once everything is done, now update location. Update x location is rather simple. One row, and then each game element in the row, what you do is x location, just add the amount, dx we have identified here. So we need to define right hand and left hand there. So right hand method would be as follows. Private int right hand. For each row, the last element is on the most right location. So x and let's have begin with a negative number, and then find the most rightmost element for rows. For each row, if row size is 0, then there is no enemy in this row. Then let's go to the next row. The reason why we do this is that as you fire bullets from the shooter and an enemy gets killed, the enemy will be removed from the row. So that we didn't implement that part yet, but that may happen later, so let's do that anyway. Then location of the rightmost element is row get row size -1 is the last element index x, and then plus enemy size is the 1. So the reason why we add the enemy size is here is right, and then this is the last enemy. XY location is there, so we need to add the size. Then that right edge of the enemy is at the right end of the game scene or not. So that's what we are computing here. So if x is greater than current most x1, then xn is updated. So for all the rows, for each row, the last element is checked, and then find which row has the rightmost element. Then once the loop is done, return xn. That's how to define the rightmost element is still in the game scene or not. And then similarly, let's do private int left hand method. So left hand method is very similar, but now let's have x and as way outside the current canvas. Current canvas size is 600, so way much bigger than that. For each row, let's find if row has any element or not. If there is no enemy, skip. Otherwise, x location is row get first element and x. If x is less than x end, then x end is x. So we find the smallest x location, then return x end there. So that's what you get. And then let's see if animation works. Start, hits left, hits, and it's swing left and right as it reaches on the side.